So this is my first tutorial in English, so I hope I'll manage. I'm going to try to explain how to pelt unwrap something in Maya. And I brought a cylinder and I brought a tree. And first I'm going to explain it on the cylinder, and then I'm going to try to explain it on the tree. First thing I'm going to do is to planar map this cylinder. So I'm using the select tool with Q, and I'm double clicking one of my faces. I'm in face mode. I'm double clicking one of my faces, and then I will select my whole object, and I'm going to the UV editor, shift right click and use planar map. The next thing I'm going to do is to select the edges on which I want my cylinder to be cut open. So double clicking with shift hold down to select all the edges. I'm going to cut the tops off, and I'm selecting one side edge. Going back to the UV editor, shift right click, cut UVs. This will cut my UVs, so Maya can unfold my UVs. Next I'm going right click to UV, selecting everything I want to unfold, shift right click and unfold. And now you can see that my UV editor has cut all the edges open and unfolded my model as shown below. This option is really nice because it will show you where your edges are, and if you close the editor you can see it on your model, so you can tell that these lines are a little bit thicker. So this is where my UV editor cut my UV edges. Now onto the tree, which is a little bit more difficult as a shape. I'm going to object mode and pressing F to focus on my tree. I'm going to select all the faces again, so I'm going into face mode, double clicking to select all faces, opening UV editor, shift right mouse button planar map, and this is what I get. Now I'm going to select the edges that I want to use. So I'm going into edge mode, and I'm doing the same thing, basically what I did with the cylinder. I'm going to cut it open, and like I said, this shape is somewhat more difficult because it's a more difficult shape. Same thing I did with the cylinder. I'm going to cut the top of the tree, the cap of the trunk, as you may. I'm going to cut it off. Oh, accidentally selected the wrong edge. And I'm going to cut the branches off because I'm going to attach those later and wrap those later. And I'm going to decide, no, I think I'll take this edge. No, this edge. And you can double click to try if Maya will automatically complete your edge loop. Sometimes it will not work. I'm going to take this edge. This time it worked. And like so. And now I'm going to cut my roots off. Not my roots, but tree's roots. Oh. And I think I got everything. Yeah, so oh no, I did not get everything. I'm missing the biggest root of them all. And I think now I got everything. So I separated my branches. Well, I did not separate them yet, but I selected the edges which I want to cut. Yeah, this looks about right. So I'm opening my UV editor again. Shift right click, cut UVs. So now the UVs are cut, and you can show them on your model by clicking this button. And now you can tell which edges are cut because there are extra fat. Now I'm going to my UV editor again, right mouse click on UVs, on UV, select everything you want to cut, everything you want to unfold, excuse me, shift, right mouse button and unfold. I did not select the edges on my branches yet, where I want to cut them open, but you can see that everything else from the main trunk is cut open exactly the way I selected the edges. So now I can continue with my branches and my roots, and then I would have a perfect unwrap of my tree. And when you press shift right mouse button again, oh, excuse me, I have to select everything first. When you shift right when you use shift right mouse button again, you can click this smooth UV tool, and this will give you two sliders which you can use to optimize your unwrap. And you can use them exactly when you're especially when you're using a checkerboard pattern to see which way it will give you the best result. So try this. And one more thing I like to show you, which I think is really neat. This is the cap of my main trunk. So like I shown before with my edge selection, I cut it completely off. Maybe I would like to attach it to my trunk again. I'm going into edge mode, and when you're selecting an edge, you can see the corresponding edge on the other part of the model. So I would like to attach it to this part. Shift right click, move and sew UVs. And now it moved my little cap and sewed it together with my main trunk.